You're addicted. You're not stuck. You're not undisciplined, and you're not bad at manifestation. You're addicted. Addicted to a version of yourself you already decided to leave. And if you stay for this, I'm going to show you exactly how that addiction keeps pulling you back in, even when you know better. And not to shame you, but to end this cycle. Because once you see this, the old story won't have the same grip on you anymore. You keep telling yourself the same thing. I just need to lock in. I just need to stay consistent. And I need to stop slipping back. But if we're being honest, you're not slipping. You're returning. You return to checking. You return to thinking about how it's going. You return to explaining yourself to friends, to strangers, to yourself. You feel calm for a moment, and then something in you goes looking for tension. So you replay the old conversation. You imagine the worst case outcome, worst case scenarios, and you look for signs. You wait for reassurance. And when the old feeling shows up again, you say, "See, I knew it." But that wasn't proof. That was simply a pattern. And the reason it keeps happening has nothing to do with belief. Here's what's actually happening, okay? You're not losing faith, and you're not failing at embodiment, okay? And you're also not going backwards. What you are feeling is withdrawal. The old identity, the one that worried, waited, reacted, explained, is not getting fed anymore. And when an identity stops getting attention, getting fed, it doesn't fade out quietly. It panics. So it sends urges, thoughts that feel urgent, emotions that feel important, and stories that sound convincing. Not because they're true, but because you've lived in them before. Your nervous system learned who you were through repetition. It learned how to feel by staying in that old story. So when you choose a new state, calm, settled, contained, your body doesn't read that as peace. It reads it as unfamiliar. And that discomfort you feel isn't a sign you chose wrong. It's a sign the old identity is losing oxygen. This is the part most people misunderstand. They think something has gone wrong because it doesn't feel easy yet. They can't see results right away. They think discomfort means they made the wrong choice or assumed the wrong state. It doesn't, okay? This is what happens when you stop abandoning yourself and start holding a new posture. Your nervous system isn't broken, it's trained. And it was trained in an environment where tension meant safety and vigilance meant control. So when you remove the tension, the body looks for it. And this is not to sabotage you, it's to reorient itself. And this is where people make the mistake. They treat that discomfort as a signal to go back. And then they start explaining themselves again. They re-engage emotionally. They look for confirmation. But guys, all that does is tell the old identity that it is still in charge. It lets the old identity know it still has control over you. Regulation is not calming yourself down. Regulation is not obeying the urge to return to what's familiar. Because you're not being tested. Guys, you're transitioning. And transitions feel unstable only to the identity that's being replaced. Think of it like this, okay? Imagine you've lived your entire life in a loud room. Noise, movement, constant stimulation. Your body learned how to survive there. It learned when to tense, when to brace, and when to stay alert. Now, you step into a quiet room. Nothing's wrong, nothing's happening, but instead of relief, your body feels exposed. Too quiet, too still, and when you don't know who you are in silence, you assume something must be wrong. So what do? You cough, you check your phone, you pace, you create noise. And not because you need it, but because silence feels unfamiliar. And that's what's happening internally. The old identity was loud, emotionally busy, always reacting to something. But the new state is quiet, contained, self-directed. And quiet feels wrong to a nervous system trained on chaos. So the urge to react, to check, to stir something up, that's not intuition. That's the old story trying to recreate the noise so it can feel real again. And here's the part you need to hear. The silence isn't emptiness, okay? Silence is power your body hasn't learned to trust yet. You don't miss the old story, you miss the chemistry. Peace feels boring to a nervous system trained on survival. The urge to react isn't truth rising, it's the old state asking for food, begging for attention. You don't go back because the old identity works, you go back because it's rehearsed. Every time you explain yourself, you give the old state a microphone. Every time you check for reassurance, you tell your nervous system it was right to panic. Calm isn't fragile, it just hasn't been practiced yet. And the moment you stop responding to the old pull, you outgrow it and move towards your desired self. Not dramatically, not instantly, quietly. Here's where this really clicks, okay? Reality does not respond to effort, it responds to state. And state is not what you say you believe. State is who you are internally. It's your default. It's who you remain when things get wild, when emotions spike, and when something doesn't go your way. It's what you genuinely believe about yourself and how you naturally act without forcing anything. That's why wanting keeps you wanting. That's why checking keeps you checking. That's why waiting feels reasonable even when it keeps you stuck. The moment you desire something, that state is already available. Guys, desire is not lack. Desire is recognition, and that recognition creates a pull toward your desired state. So when you hesitate after that moment, when you delay, explain, or monitor, you're not being careful. You're returning to the old default. Because the old state survives through motion, reaction, urgency, and emotional engagement. The new state survives through composure, not passivity, not avoidance, remaining who you chose to be even when emotions try to pull you back. This is why indifference is power. When you don't let circumstances dictate who you are internally, the world loses leverage over you. And when the world has no leverage, it starts to rearrange. Listen, if this doesn't land, discard it. Your sovereignty is law. But if it does land, then you already know the truth. You don't become the new state by proving it. You become it by remaining it. Here's what it looks like in real life. And this is not theory and not mindset behavior, okay? Stop narrating your process. Stop explaining where you're at. Stop checking how it's going. Stop asking for reassurance after you've already decided. Those aren't safety behaviors, they're relapse behaviors, and they feed the old default. Now, these are the actions you must start doing, okay? When the urge to react shows up, pause. When you feel pulled to check, don't. When emotions spike, stay right where you are. Not to numb it, not to suppress it, but to outlast it. Let the feeling rise, let it peak, let it pass without obeying it. Your identity test this week is to just ask yourself once, who am I in this moment and what would that version of me do next? Then only do that. No explaining, no emotional bargaining, just alignment. Because action doesn't create the state, action expresses the state. And when your actions stay aligned long enough, the new state stops feeling foreign and starts feeling like home. Before you scroll, pause. Put your phone down for like 10 seconds. Take one slow breath and ask yourself one clean, clear question. What do I keep doing that pulls me back into the old default? Don't analyze it, don't justify it, and don't make it a personality trait. Just name it. Because the moment you can see it clearly, you don't have to fight it anymore, and you stop feeding it. And if you want to make this real, write one sentence. Tonight, when I feel the pull, I will blank instead of blank. Let that land. This isn't about fixing yourself, it's about choosing who you are when no one is watching. My lorelings, you're not broken, you're not behind, you're in the middle of an identity shift, and those always feel quiet before they feel solid. You don't win by reacting, you don't win by proving, and you don't win by explaining. You win by remaining. And you remain through love and self-respect, not anger, not panic, not revenge. Take what served you, leave what didn't, and if this woke something up in you, don't let it go back to sleep. And remember, this wizard believes in you.